Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Madeira Beach Board of Commissioners Workshop. Today is March 4th, and the time is 5 p.m. Would the city clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Lister?
Here.
Commissioner Hodges?
Here.
Commissioner Poe?
Here.
Commissioner Shantz? Here. Mayor Palladino?
Here. First up, item A, discussion on sober house. Commissioner
Poe.
Poe.
Remember?
Yes,
Not Oakley,
ma'am.
Poe.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Would you like to proceed?
Sure. Basically, when I was in Tallahassee, they asked me if I would start doing research on sober houses. It seems to be an upcoming problem. It's more intense in Delray Beach and Daytona Beach and Panama City, Miami, places like that. But we do have them here in St. Petersburg. Basically, what they are unregulated halfway houses. And they're renting houses in residential neighborhoods. They're removing the kitchens, and they're putting bunk beds in every room. They're renting these out to people who have come out of jail or a rehab center for anywhere from $200 a week to $300 a week, depending on how big the house is and what else is in there. The problems are astronomical on what is going on in these halfway houses all over the U.S., not just in Florida, but everywhere. We don't have any in Madeira Beach. There is one at 4300 Doomy Road. The office, so to speak, is there, but the facility is not. I've already been and spoken with them. They're very nice people. They're the exception. A lot of people are using these houses because they can't make the mortgage. So they don't care what they put in our neighborhood. My goal is to stop it before we get it. I don't want to have to fight this war like we have with everything else. So my proposal is that we figure out how to do it. The best I have figured out so far, and we are covered in our ordinances with the definition of family. Because if they put 10 people in one house, they can lie all they want to, but they're not all related. So if we can stop it with what we have, that's great. If we need to do a resolution or an ordinance, I would suggest that we get on it immediately.
Commissioner Hodges?
Who's paying the $200 to $300 a week?
The government, we are.
The government's paying that.
Right now, there's a bill in Tallahassee that we're trying to get DCF to regulate these houses. They don't want to. So that leaves them unregulated, and basically any property owner can put anyone they want to in these properties. And we have to fight to get them out.
So we just need to keep on watching to make sure they don't start taking out the kitchens and all of a sudden see a bunch of bunk beds
No,
going
we
in.
need to get the ordinance done so that we make sure that this doesn't happen, so that people understand that we're not going to allow it in our residential neighborhoods.
And you done?
Go ahead.
Commissioner Poe, I just also on that, the facility over here on Doomy, did you speak with Mr. Johnson?
Chad?
Chad Johnson, yes, okay. And I know that the city manager myself, when he first went in there, he was getting permits and stuff, but he said nobody was going to live in that facility.
No, they
It was
don't.
just- Okay.
No, I went over to
Correct,
make sure
okay.
and to see what kind of facility it was.
And he seemed, like I say, he was a very nice guy, and actually, for anybody, his father is actually, yes, Jimmy Johnson of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, the other thing is we have 11 of them in St. Petersburg, and when you look them up on the internet, you will not find the location. You will find a section, but you physically have to go to WellCare or whoever's got it advertised to find out where it is. About 90% of those 11 are in Coquina Key area in residential neighborhoods.
Mr. Mayor, I think, I agree with Commissioner Poe's attack on the issue of let's head it off at the pass before it actually arrives in town. And so I think, with the city attorney here, we can probably have that go back to Tom and have Tom put pen to paper on something and report back to us at the next meeting. And if it's indeed an ordinance, or if we have something on the books that may just need to be modified, we can discuss it then and push for an ordinance or a resolution in the upcoming 2 months.
We have a couple of things on the books that hopefully will work, and I was thinking about sending them to Tom tomorrow just to say, hey, look at these and see. And we already do have family defined in our ordinances.
I mean, if we can have Tom briefed on it.
Yeah, absolutely. If the commission all agrees, we'd be happy to work up some language and bring it to you at the next meeting so you guys can take a look at it and we can kind of spitball it. And any information that you have or gained in Tallahassee that you can forward on to us, that would certainly be helpful.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does any other commissioner have any questions? What's the pleasure of the commission? We have a consensus? allow staff to move forward.
Yes.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
I just, information is great. I think information is good. I always say that, you guys. But, we have to be careful about, who we say we can allow into the city and who we can't allow into the city. We can't close the door on anybody. I'm sorry. That's just not America. That's not the way, this country was founded. I mean, Ellis Island and everybody else, we give us you're hungry and you're poor and you're weak and Elaine, I know what you're saying. I know
Yeah.
if you can fix a problem before it happens, it's so much better.
Well,
But
let me
I'm
give
just
you an
saying,
example.
you don't have to give me examples. I know people that have been in halfway houses. I personally know people that have been there, and some of them are really good people who've had some really bad things happen to them, and they're good people though. That's my problem. And what we're saying as this commission today is we're going to say don't come to our city, and that starts down a slope that I don't particularly feel comfortable with. Don't come to my city if you're this type of person, or if you're that type of person, because it's just like when you take away my gun. Where are you going to stop? Where are you going to stop? My dad's always said, when he was alive, I'm not going to wear a safety belt, because if they make me wear a safety belt, then they're going to tell me what kind of pants to wear. So government has a responsibility for safety and welfare of everybody that lives here in Madeira Beach. Yes, we do, and
Yes,
we
we do.
will be diligent with that. The things we have on the books now, family, it's just like we've always said, and we say this a lot. If we could enforce everything we have on the books, we wouldn't have any problems. But we can keep putting things on the books, but we can't enforce them. So let's just give our community policing officer, Mr. Deputy Luckett, some more stuff to do, which is fine, and our other officers that patrol our streets. I am so good with that. But I just don't want this to come out in the paper and saying, Madeira Beach wants all your money. They want you to come to the beach, but they don't want your.
We don't want the problems.
Let me just
We
go.
had
let me
a
just go
halfway
with that.
house here. When I first started in 2011, we
My
had
wife
one.
gets emails every week about sexual predators that we have in Madeira
Yeah,
Beach.
we do.
And we know where they're at, and they monitor them. And, halfway houses, we don't even have any yet, but they're probably coming. They're probably coming. I understand that. But again, let's see if we can deal with what we have on the books, other than, talking to Tom in our legal department. They have a lot to do too. And see if we can work this out. I just don't want to be known as the city who wants everything good and nothing bad, because we do want everything good, and we have to deal with the bad, and I agree with you,
Well,
Commissioner.
I disagree.
Okay,
So we will agree to disagree.
there you go.
Well, I think you're both ironically on the same page. Inviting people to town is fine, and if you're going to have something like that, it just can't be problematic. Everybody's got to play by the same set of rules. So
And they don't.
That's the key, I think. So regulating behavior in town is a function that we can certainly do, and we just don't want any crime or these things breed that type of behavior. So if it is going to pop up on us, how do we regulate it? Maybe we don't keep it from coming, but at least we can regulate their behavior in some fashion, or we do prohibit it from coming. So I think a lot of it just comes down to the legal aspect of it, and I think Tom will be able to walk us through that at the next agenda. In fact, our next workshop's not until, mid to late April, so we've got some time.
So I guess we have a consensus to go ahead and hear back from the city attorney before moving forward, or?
That's fine.
Yes.
We can
Okay.
do what they say, that don't mean doing about it,
Yeah.
I just want everyone to be aware of it.
yeah.
No, and Commissioner Poe, thank you very much, because I know that's come out in a couple of House representatives. I know them also working on this, especially on the East Coast, so I'm glad you brought it up.
It's a very big topic right now with everyone trying to get DCF to take it over. Nobody wants to regulate it. I just can tell you from experience is when you've got 15 druggies hanging out next door to you, it's not a pleasant atmosphere.
I agree with you 100%.
And we do have some slumlords here.
Mr. City Attorney, you'll pass that on to?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I sure will.
Thank you. All right, anything else on that? Move forward to item B, discussion regarding spec approval for fire department vehicles. Mr. City Manager, or is the fire chief going to handle
Well,
it?
let me tell you why it's here, and then the chief will walk you through the hard part. In your 2014 budget, you approved X amount of dollars for a specific vehicle, and this is not a foreign to any city practice, is that, you know, throughout the year, those needs may change. And so the chief has actually requested the purchase of 2 vehicles. One of them is like a beach-type vehicle that I think we're in desperate need of, and if we showed you the existing equipment, you would be embarrassed. And then another vehicle that doesn't fit the criteria or the description of what you approved in the budget. And when we do these types of changes, you need to be approving the spec and then the award of it. And so what you're doing tonight is approving a change in spec. The money's in the budget. You're not changing anything. You're not appropriating any other dollars. These monies were going to be spent on this. And then at your next meeting, you're actually going to basically grant us permission to spend that money immediately without going out for RFP, because the 2 vehicles in question are on state bids or on advantageous pricing bids that we can go ahead and direct purchase them from. So that's really why it's here. And so now the issue is, do you concur with the fire chief in the change of what he wants to do? And I think he makes a valid argument for doing that. So
Absolutely.
Chief, come on up.
Good afternoon. This money is actually from the local sales tax option money, correct? Well, what was appropriated was $40,000, and it was going to be to replace the inspector type vehicle that we have outside. That vehicle actually is going to be shifted down, and we're going to drop the oldest one off of the city inventory. But looking at the money that we had established for that vehicle, we looked at the state bid list, did some finagling of the numbers there, and found out that we could not only get that vehicle replaced with another 4-wheel drive vehicle similar to what I'm driving now, but also get an ATV type vehicle so we can get patients off the beach. The hardest problem that we have as firefighters is treating those patients and then getting them through the sugar sand back up to the Sunstar ambulance to transport them off the beach. An ATV type vehicle will allow us to get out there, package that patient up, and get them off the beach in a timely fashion without injuring our firefighters trying to carry, you know, a 200-pound person through the sugar sand.
And Chief, I know the one vehicle you were talking about is a Polaris, sort of like the one that the Sheriff's Department also has back there. And I know that seeing what you all have been doing, working back there to save money on cost of this vehicle by working with a local contractor, making the bed, making it, instead of ordering stuff that's pre-made, I know, which is a little more expensive than trying to do some local fabrication for this vehicle. But seeing the need of that and actually having a chance to talk to our first responders back in the back, with 4 guys on the engines, 2 of them being able to jump in this transport unit or getting on the scene a lot quicker on the beaches with this, or even and I know I'm going to get a little off topic here, Commission, but what's going on with, and it's just a little insight from sitting on the Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board for Pinellas County, more money needs to be pushed towards the beaches for water safety equipment. And that's going to be a discussion I'm going to have with Bruce Moeller from EMS and Commissioner John Maroney on Wednesday afternoon, is getting more money. They're having more transports and more injuries. Sunstar saying their rides are up, hitting record-breaking numbers. The main reason they're saying is because of tourism. Well, where's tourism? On the beaches. The majority of your calls are starting to come off these beaches on higher numbers. That piece of equipment right there, being able to get down there, the water board, putting the water board on top of that, getting down to the water and rescuing people and getting them off the beach up to hard ground where they can be transported is a very important piece of equipment. So, I mean, I see that. I don't know if the rest of the commissions had a chance to think about it or look at it or anything that was presented in these documents.
Absolutely, Mayor. And like you said, the firefighters, if we had bought this vehicle already packaged, the Polaris vehicle, you're looking at about $18,000 was the best bid we got. We got the price of the Polaris vehicle down to, I think, $11,000, and the firefighters are actually going to do the work and the labor to save us probably $4,000 or $5,000 easy on that vehicle.
Great.
Just let the commission also know up towards the north, I believe Pinellas Park has one already, correct?
Yes,
Not Pinellas Park, I'm sorry, Pinellas Suncoast.
Pinellas Suncoast.
Yes, sorry about that.
correct.
I did just want to confirm that it's $40,000 budgeted in the local option sales tax fund.
So the one vehicle, the Polaris, we're looking at 1112,
Yes, sir.
and then for the Ford Expedition to replace the,
It actually works
Dodge
out
that's
to
back
be
there.
almost exactly $40,000 for both vehicles.
okay.
That's great.
So what you're doing is approving a spec change, and then at the next meeting, you'll be approving the expenditure for the Ford Explorer, which is approximately $28,000, because as the chief described, the other one is under the threshold of the city manager, and we can handle that under my authority. And then with the install cost being borne by the fire department, we're good to go.
We're good. And just, Chief, one more thing, since we're way ahead on this. And I know it's a little off topic also, what they're discussing on water equipment, and I've had a chance to discuss with the chief and the other chiefs of the county, was like jet skis. And I've seen how Bradenton has actually used them down there with the water boards. If you've been back in the fire department and seen that big surfboard they use for water rescues, you'll be able to attach that if you have somebody on the water. Something like this Polaris, being able to take the jet ski across, launch them from the beaches, even if you have a rescue down in Johns Pass, that vehicle being able to travel 60 miles down the beach on most days compared to your fire engine having to race down the road. So response times in the water would actually be a little bit quicker too. And when you have drowning, I'm sure, time saves lives.
We've got the surface water rescue equipment that Lieutenant Hutzler put together a couple of years ago, and that's good if it's something that's right there off the beach. And where we're having a problem is when they get caught in that current there at Johns Pass and they get swept out and they're outside the range of us actually being able to get out there to them. We'll be able to have that vehicle and eventually a jet ski to get out there to them. Clearwater also has the same programs.
Thank you, Chief. Does anybody have any questions for the chief?
Do we take into consideration the storage of the vehicles over in the new fire station when we get the new fire station built? Do we have a
Absolutely
storage area for that? So it
Absolutely.
wouldn't sit outside?
Oh,
Because I know they last a lot longer if we can just give them
We
something covered.
Plan that station, so you should be in good shape for the next 50 to 75 years.
It's always a good thing,
We
Chief.
should
Thanks.
be in good shape. Thank
All
you.
right.
Chief, thank you. So is there a consensus to move forward?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. City Manager, anything else you'd like to add before?
No, so just that, the consensus vote then obviously was to approve the change in spec, and then for this, the sake of timeliness, you'll go ahead and approve that right out of the gate, so they'll be here relatively quickly.
All right. Next, item C, discussion regarding 4th of July, 2014. Mr. City Manager.
Dave can feel free to jump in here whenever he wants, but.
Oh, you, Dave.
So here's the situation, and the mayor was at a meeting. We've had some unlucky circumstances when it comes to throwing that 4th of July party at Archibald Park. The last 2 years that we literally have gotten rained out, and I still call them a success, not a financial success, but you're not going to make money off of throwing a city celebration. So we posed, hey, let's have a change of venue, especially with the city hall area being under construction, and let's give something else a try. So we petitioned Johns Pass and said, here it is, we'll provide you a $5,000 start, and you guys take care of it, and we'll pay for the fireworks and that kind of thing. And I think it became evident, at least in the last 30 days, that they were having some trouble getting organized on the whole issue. So long story short, I had received an email from the association president saying, we're not capable at this moment to have the 4th of July in Johns Pass. And there was parking issues. There were things to be discussed, but, we have run into those problems, throughout town, throughout the year. Long story short, it's back in our court, and so this is what I propose, and if you're okay with it, I think we should downscale it a little bit from what we had done in previous years, and we've got a proven vendor in the Snack Shack now that I've got faith in. What I'd like to do is put it out at Archibald Park again, and not have a beer truck, have the Snack Shack kind of cater the event, and frankly, go get your 12-pack of beer from the Snack Shack, or go to Winn-Dixie and bring it onto the beach. We won't have to patrol any of that, just typical Madera Beach. Come and go as you please. Obviously, you have to behave, or you're going to have some trouble with Johnny Law, but other than that, we're okay. Maybe some entertainment, maybe a band and a stage and some sound, or maybe just, one of our resident DJs spinning some beach music all day long. Just something a little nice to have on the beach and have people come. And then comes the fireworks, and so our proposal is this, that we would shoot them off on the Gulf, but immediately make a call, and you've seen me running around for the last 2 years about how we do this. If we even have a doubt of rough seas, anything that's going to prohibit us from doing that we would shoot them off where we shot them off last year. You can actually see them from Archibald Park You can, walk down Rex Place, you can do whatever, but do our best to shoot them off on the Gulf, because I think that would be something, pretty substantial, and just kind of see how that version of this party goes, and go from there. Archibald Park's a brand-new park now, it'd be a great way to showcase it. It would be great for the new vendors in there to get a big event under their belt and, maybe make a couple of bucks, and it would certainly be a diminishment in terms of our capital expenditure on the whole event. So that's how we'd like to go. We think we already have a barge. Dave is grinning at me from across the way. We'll figure that out on July 3rd as usual, but we'll have one for you. And the fireworks are out for bid right now, and so we'll have one heck of a nice show, and then our usual donor, if you will. So there's a friend of the program in town would maybe even donate to a larger fireworks show. And he would, again, have some sort of private party on the beach in exchange for that. And so that's really where it would sit. It would be a lot like last year, except no vendors, no beer truck, nothing like that, just accommodate what we've got. So if you're comfortable with that, it's not too late in the game, but I think it's a little too late to do anything more extravagant than that.
Fireworks and music, that's all it's about.
Right, right, so.
And the vendor coming into Archibald is going to be, at the Snack Shack, is going to be outstanding from what I've seen so far.
That project has been a success. It's not complete yet. There's a couple of things that need to be done, but by July 4th, it'll be 100% complete, so.
And, Mr. City Manager, I know you've given the commission an update, but I don't think it's been heard publicly about that we have received permission from the Park Services for the Snack Shack to move forward.
Yeah, good point. So the National Park Service gave us the approval. The only thing that they did not approve that was at least part of their initial request was, they wanted to put a bar in the back and have a full liquor bar. That wasn't approved, but that's okay with these vendors. Obviously, they would have liked to see that, but that's something that,
But serving breakfast appetizers and
didn't work out, right?
burgers
But
and all
yeah,
that was approved. I saw the letter from the National
Oh, yeah,
Park
the menu,
Services.
everything else. So, and this is a quality group, and the federal guys came down to visit us. They were blown away. And it was a horribly cold, rainy day, and they were just blown away, amazed by what we had done there, so compared to what it was like, so. So all that has now fallen into place. The beach vending's going on right now, and that's proven to be a really quality vendor if you've seen what's going on out there in terms of equipment and the way that they structure it. So it'll be neat to, use the 4th to showcase that. It's certainly a testament to the property and the name involved and everything else. So if you're comfortable with that, it's one more year of giving it a whirl, the old college try, and see what happens. But if the weather cooperates, it'll be one heck of a spectacle.
You're on the right track.
I think so.
Not to have all that stuff that you have to drag out there in that sand. And they're just as happy.
Yeah.
They're gonna be just as happy. You're not gonna work yourself to death like you did last year. He's not gonna work himself to death like he did. And they'll have a wonderful time.
Well, and there'll be no prevention. You can literally bring your cooler of sandwiches and sodas and beers on the beach, and there's no one going to be telling you you can't do it or you got to be on this side of the boundary line and that type of stuff. It's just typical Madeira Beach. Come onto the beach and have fun, drink your beers and sodas, and watch one heck of a fireworks show. So, if you're comfortable with that, that's the way that we're going to proceed.
Sounds like a great idea, honey, and I would pray for you that the weather would be nice. If you could shoot those fireworks.
One of these years, we're going to do it. Yeah, it'll be nice.
Well, Commissioner Johnson already told the city manager, no matter if I'm mayor or not, there'll be a 45-footer pushing that barge out there no matter what happens, so.
I'll be out there with a kickboard in one of these years if we don't
They
get
can
it out
swim
there.
with a harness. They can
man.
swim with a harness.
But you
Do we have
always
a-
have your.
Well, he's got a little
sacrifice.
water phobia, Mr. Vice Mayor, so I don't know if we'll see him swimming out there.
Oh, well, that's true.
We're very fortunate we have another place that we can.
We got a plan B, but if there's any reason in the world why we don't think plan A is gonna happen, we're not gonna go through the, saga that we did last year of getting it halfway out there and the barge starts falling apart, or God knows what else could have possibly happened, so. The good thing is that we've got things in the works now, not late June, to get moving on it. So if you're comfortable with that, we'll certainly live within the restraints of our budget and get it all taken care of, but if that type of party scenario works for you guys, it shouldn't be problematic unless Mother Nature doesn't cooperate.
Commission, other questions?
And again, I just wanted to reiterate, we're not pulling this from John's Pass. I don't want to say that they threw up the white flag, but I don't know, maybe it was too late for them to get organized all around it, and, you know, they've got plenty of their own things going on, and, you know, I feel bad for the chairman of that association, you know, Matt Powers. He's got to, you know, he's trying to make that work, and then he's, you know, creating a brand-new beer pub down there and still making the existing winery happen, you know, and so I think the plates are just maybe full down there, and it just wasn't in the cards this time. We can always take a look at it at a later date to, you know, put it down there and give it a whirl there too, but it's just not gonna happen this next time.
John's Pass is full. It is absolutely full. I'd much rather show off Archibald Park, but is there a soft opening, grand opening, or for the park before, like in?
That's the next thing that we have to talk about, and I guess it's somewhat related, is
We don't want to push this back to the 4th of July, though. We don't want to do that. Switch it.
Well, you know, it might be close. Right now, just the final renovations to the snack shack, remember, our new vendor has to take care of all that. Dave and I are off the hook on that one, thank God. That's gonna take at least 60 days, and when they say 60 days, you know, it's between 60 and 90 days, and before you know it, you're halfway through June, so we might be pretty close to doing some sort of,
Could work out.
we could just time it all together, so I think it's just gonna come down to the timing of that. I mean, they wanna be in there and operating last month, you know. You know, people don't understand that we bid that out and applied for, you know, federal approval at the same time. One was gonna happen before the other, so we got our vendors, but we had to wait on the feds to go through all the paperwork and approve the leases and approve the agreements. So it wasn't, they knew it wasn't the city waiting, and you can't really blame the feds, because they have their own process and, you know, different levels of bureaucracy and whatever else that they have to cut, so it's just the way that it was. But they want to be up and running, so I expect this construction, or whatever you want to call it, remodel of the interior of the snack shack to happen as quick as possible, and they have the resources to do it. It should be getting painted probably in the next couple of weeks. It's literally number one on their list, so.
And I noticed Duke Energy was there when driving here today. They were pulling the rest of the poles, so Bright House must be getting ready to drop that last cable.
I
on
would
the ground.
certainly hope so, you know.
Well, if they pull the poles, they're not gonna let that wire dangle.
Well, no,
that
they
good
won't do
distance,
that.
But they were pulling poles when I got here, so that was nice to see, and I've heard a lot of compliments on the park. Monday, it was packed to the rim, and the vice mayor's saying that John's Pass was packed. It's been packed. Just a little update, we had film crews out here yesterday, and from Visit St. Pete Clearwater, there was actually 50 people out here filming, and for tourism, and 3 cities were part of this package. It was Clearwater, St. Pete, and Madeira Beach. So I think they're going to have to change the name to Visit St. Pete Clearwater to Visit St. Pete Madeira Beach Clearwater. So we got a lot of stuff in the works, and it was very exciting. They did things from filming the pass, things on the water, diving, fishing, dolphin watching, and it was, like I said, they spent 16 hours down there yesterday filming. So it was really exciting to watch, and a lot of good comment, and nothing's better than free press.
Absolutely.
Right.
We've been getting nothing but compliments, but everyone's saying there's missing arch over the 2 signs.
Yeah. Hail the vice mayor.
Wait, let me
here.
get that knife. I got it.
Right there, we don't want any
Hail the vice mayor.
Yeah,
cemetery.
I love it with no arch, let me tell you.
It looks nice.
It does.
I think it looks
yeah.
very first class.
It does. It's a classy joint all of a sudden,
It
and you know,
certainly
some people are saying the signs might be a little overdone, but you need it to be inviting. People didn't know what that was, and it'll catch on. It's not all done yet either, folks. You know, the lighting is going to be not an afterthought, but it's going to come in a little bit later. And so at night, what you see at night now is not what you're going to see in the 45 days. Even the obelisk, there's if it looks like there's a piece missing, there is, and you know, Madeira Beach gets put on there. So it's not done, but it was certainly time to open up the park, and I'm glad we did, because now the revenue is rolling in again. So.
Well, I know we're just rolling and talking now. Also, looking
Well, we
at
should stick to the agenda. We can't just
Well,
talk about
we're-
anything.
I think we've gone ahead and got a consensus for the 4th of July. So
Yeah, can we put everybody's comfortable with that, and we'll just
okay.
go with it? Okay.
I did have one more question before I go ahead and proceed to close. The light poles at Archibald that are on Gulf Boulevard, is that looking at, if we go forward with stage 2 of the undergrounding, those will be the light poles we'll see up and down Gulf Boulevard, those
Right.
white ones?
They're nice.
The white ones with the,
So that's what Duke Energy's putting in, changing out with, as we go along and do this? Okay.
Yeah, it's somewhat of
It looks
a-
great. Are you kidding?
Oh, it's way better than what was.
I mean, from anything I've seen up and down Gulf Boulevard, that's outstanding.
What was there, yeah, so, we're gonna, that undergrounding thing is gonna get momentum here pretty quick, because of what FDOT wants to do to Gulf Boulevard, so, my concern, at least from an administration standpoint, you don't want your entire town ripped up, and so we're gonna have to, take a look at how we phase that road project in with some of the other projects that we've gotta do, and then space it out from a budget standpoint so we can pay for all of this stuff, but right now, everything's kind of fallen into place, but we're getting to the point where, especially with the City Hall project, it's a lot. But we're getting rolling on all those other projects. It's not like anything's sitting waiting, so we're in good shape.
And I'll have a little bit more update at the 6 PM meeting on some funding and stuff coming from, on that penny stuff from the TDC, so I'll go and bring that up at the 6 PM meeting. Is there anything else before I proceed to close? Seeing no further business, this meeting's adjourned at 5:30.